Hello aspirants, this will be our next video in this series. In this series, we shall cover entire current affairs for Prelims 2017. And again, let me assure you that you will not need any other source for Prelims current affairs. And you can totally depend upon this video series itself for a Prelims current affairs preparation. So let's begin.
Okay, so first I would like to start with IDF. IDF stands for India Development Foundation and IDF-OI stands for IDF Overseas Indians. So basically what is IDF-OI? IDF-OI is a trust that has been created by Government of India. So it will facilitate philanthropic contributions from overseas Indians, overseas जो इंडिया के NRIs हैं या फिर other people like also PIOs and OCIs. They have been merged into OCI together now. Okay, so these people, whatever contributions they make for social development projects in India or other kinds of development projects in India, so all these contributions, they go into India Development Fund. Next thing would be moving on, Pravasi Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So this is Pravasi Kaushal Vikas Yojana. What is it? It is just you just have to know the scheme, what it is related to. It is related to skilling Indian skill development का project है, ठीक है, एक scheme है. तो for jobs abroad, you want to skill Indians for the jobs abroad. So Indian youth को skill करेंगे for jobs that are available abroad. So this is what this scheme stands for. Okay, next, what is GAAR? Next thing that I would like to discuss is General Anti-Avoidance Rule. So what is General Anti-Avoidance Rule? General Anti-Avoidance Rule was in news because government has said that it will come into force from 1st of April 2017. Okay, so what are GAAR rules? General Anti-Avoidance Rules. Now, General Anti-Avoidance Rules, it is a regulation. It is a regulation of Government of India, which will come into force from 1st of April 2017. Okay, so now what does this regulation deal with? It deals with certain transactions that are made to avoid taxes. इसको अवॉइड करने के लिए, टैक्स अवॉइड करने के लिए कुछ ट्रांजैक्शंस किए जाते हैं बाय सम कंपनीज. सो दे यूज सम लूप होल्स इन द टैक्सेशन लॉस to avoid taxes. Now government wants to tap these, so bring in general anti-avoidance rules. So it allows the government to tax overseas deals which involve local assets. Like what? Like companies can, let's say ki there is a transfer of some asset from one company to another, then what does the company do? The deal is made in a low tax country, and this allows the companies to avoid paying any taxes in India. Now GAAR is a regulation that is aimed at tapping these transactions, so these transactions can be taxed in India. Okay, जो वर्ल्ड का सबसे बड़ा स्ट्रीट लाइट रिप्लेसमेंट प्रोग्राम है, that is going on in India. That program is called Street Lightning National Program. It is presently running in South Delhi Municipal Corporation area. Now what is happening here? Street lights are being replaced by LED lights. LED lights replace foreign street lights, and this is the world's largest street light replacement program. What does it do? Naturally, if you replace जो पुराने स्ट्रीट लाइट्स थे उनको LED लाइट से रिप्लेस करना है, तो ग्रीन हाउस गैस का जो एमिशन थे इट गेट्स रिड्यूस्ड. सो ओके, नेक्स्ट थिंग, अच्छा, लास्ट ईयर आपके प्रीलिम्स में ये सवाल पूछा था, अष्टधारिणी. On the same line, this year they can ask what Kalwari is or what Khanderi is. Okay, what is Kalwari and Khanderi? So these are the names of the first two. These are the names of the first two Scorpene submarines. Remember, Scorpene submarines was in news recently. A lot of it gained a lot of attention after the secret documents regarding it were leaked. Okay, so Kalwari and Khanderi are the names of the first two Scorpene submarines that have been built by India. Okay, next is GPCR. GPCR stands for G protein coupled receptors. Now GPCR obviously एक साइंस सेंटर का टॉपिक हो गया है, तो इट वाज इन न्यूज रिसेंटली बिकॉज कुछ रिसर्च वर्क हुआ था अभी अभी इस पे, सो पाथ ब्रेकिंग रिसर्च वर्क हुआ है इंडिया में इस पे. विल टॉक अबाउट द न्यूज, जो रिसर्च वर्क है उस पर बात करेंगे, लेकिन फर्स्ट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट जीपीसीआर इज. ओके, GPCR stands for, I told you, G protein coupled receptors. It is a large family of proteins that regulate, that are associated with almost all physiological processes in the body. So what it does कि जो सेल से बाहर जो मॉलिक्यूल्स हैं इनको ये डिटेक्ट करने में हेल्प करता है. So now these GPCR are bound with the cell, these cells. इस सेल के साथ ये बाउंड है, ठीक है. और ये जो one part of it is within the cell membrane and the other part protrudes outside the cell membrane. Now outside the cell membrane and into the cell. Now this part is called as the tail and this part is called as the head. Now this head and tail, these are receptors. ये GPCR के receptors हैं ये. So now ये जो head है ये सेल मेम्ब्रेन में होता है, और जो टेल है सेल मेम्ब्रेन से अंदर की तरफ प्रोट्रूड होता है सेल की तरफ. ओके, नाउ जो भी ड्रग्स हम एडमिनिस्टर करते हैं दे बाइंड टू दीज रिसेप्टर्स, these two receptors, the head and the tail, and these receptors, they react to the administered drugs in the body to eventually control reactions like blood pressure, vision, taste, etc, etc. So this is how GPCR proteins ड्रग डिलीवरी और ऐसे ड्रग की एफिशिएंसी बढ़ाने में और इन सब चीज़ों में ड्रग के फंक्शन में हेल्प करते हैं इसको. सो नाउ अर्लियर, अब रिसर्च वर्क जो हुई है वो है क्या रिसर्च अभी. तो पहले क्या होता था कि जो भी ड्रग्स हम डिलीवर करते थे दे यूज्ड टू बाइंड टू बोथ दीज रिसेप्टर्स. नाउ आईआईटी कानपुर, नाउ एक रिसर्च वर्क किया आईआईटी कानपुर में. दे से दैट रेगुलेशन ऑफ दीज रिसेप्टर्स बाय ड्रग्स is much simpler than thought. How? Because it can be done by binding only to one end of the receptor, that is the tail only, and you do not have to bind to the head at all. So basically जो आपका work है ये half हो गया. So now the drugs that were earlier designed, they used to bind to both the parts of the receptor. So अब बस लेकिन अब ये बोल रहे हैं, ये जो IIT कानपुर का research work है, it says that it only has to bind to the tail. So it is a path breaking research work. And, so you must know आपके prelims के लिए कि what GPCR proteins are, what the head and the tail receptors of this protein are, where the head is in the membrane, in the cell membrane, and where the tail is, it is inside the cell, it protrudes inside the cell from the cell membrane, and what these are receptors and how it helps in drug delivery, and what the research work is that it only has to bind to the tail. Okay, I guess this is all about GPCR.
Okay then guys, that's all for today. I hope you like this initiative. Visit edwitty.in for more useful content. And if you have any doubts, leave them in your comments. If you would like us to do other similar initiatives, please let us know. And yes, don't forget to download this synopsis PDF for revision. Thank you and have a great day.